My name is Patrick Biafor, and my brother and I own a landscape company here in Morgantown, West Virginia called Biafor Landscape Development.
Scott Hansen. I'm a Scout Executive and Chief Executive Officer for the Boy Scouts of America Mountaineer Area Council.
My name's Teddy Lester. I'm a nurse at Ruby.
My name is Kirsten Young-hee Song, and I'm from South Korea, and I'm sociology professor.
I think the most important American value we have is probably what a lot of people would say is our freedom. Freedom to do anything. Freedom to make our own choices, follow our own destinies, be who we want to be.
Our freedoms, because that's a commodity that's not available to so many people throughout the planet.
So the most important value in America, I think it's freedom, like freedom of speech and individualism, I think.
One of the most important American values, I think, is individualism. And why? Because it allows us as people to be whatever and whoever we want.
I grew up in a small community that valued relationships, valued neighbors, valued family.
I'm from South Korea, where the collectivistic value is really, really strong, right? So you don't necessarily show your individual opinions or thoughts or ideas very freely because there are so much pressures from like other people surrounding you. So even if you have your own ideas that you don't necessarily like speak up, right? I'm from that kind of country. But now in America, I see that like people are more freely express themselves. And I think that is one of the most important value in America, I think.
There was always a saying that we use that no matter what color you are, you're all green in the Marine Corps. You're either dark green or you're light green, but you're all green and you all have the same mission. And we all fought for the same purpose and worked for a common goal at the end of the day. And that I think stemmed from just my upbringing as well as my feeling and sense of wanting to be connected with people. I think that that's something that we all want to have and we all want to experience that. People just have different ways of going about it, but at the end of the day, we want to see the best for those around us, including ourselves.
You can be gay, you could be straight, you can be funny, you could be serious, you could be a mean person, you could be a nice person, you could even be a boring person in this country.
One of the things that I love about America, with the country that we have is the general acceptance for any individual to be who you want to be. I think that's unique in many ways to our country that other countries don't have, that freedom of expression.
I love our country. Nothing's perfect. I love our freedoms. I love our opportunity. I love our diversity. There's not a lot of countries that truly have as much diversity, and I think all said and done, we do pretty well with the diversity that we have.
I was very surprised that like people just like very freely talk about their opinions. They didn't really seem to care that their opinions were good, were well thought out, or I don't know, like correct. They just don't really hesitate to speak up. That was very surprising. Sometimes like of course there are some good opinions from people, but sometimes there are stupid opinions from people, right? I'm not saying that like everyone like says like smart things, but being able to express themselves freely without like being worried about what other people like think about like you, I think that is very refreshing to me.
The constant need for us as people to keep building new things. I hate people who don't care about other people or the environment around them and the consequences of their actions. I hate that they only want to make money and care about the short-term benefits for themselves. That's what I hate the most.
I think our country's greatest challenge probably is along the lines of, I would say, two things. One, I would say maybe apathy, people that just don't know what's going on, don't pay attention to what's going on in their country and in the world. And the other, I'd say, is a product of what we see now with the way the news media cycle is, and social media in particular, is false news articles. It's very difficult now to tell the difference between what's real news and what's been fabricated or someone's imagination that they're writing up as real news.
Agendas. to the point where I don't believe either side anymore. I'd like true news without an agenda or a spin, and that's really hard to find now. Everybody's got their agenda to the point that I don't think anybody knows what really to believe, because you can take anything out of context and make it appear the way you want it to appear.
Everybody says, if you listen to the media all day long, you're going to be divided about something. There's no give, and it's too easy for people to become extremely defensive and not see things for what they are in a much bigger picture, other than what they think is right. And I think it's very short-sighted, and I think it's very challenging to be able to have just standard conversations with people anymore about things like that, especially things you don't agree with, because I want you to, you got to be open-minded, and you got to feel a certain way about just how the world works, unless you don't think the same way I do. And then if you don't think the same way I do, then you're wrong.
It's also easy in just a meme or a text to kind of misrepresent what you really feel, or you might say it spontaneously, and you can't take it back. It might be in a context you didn't mean it. I think people are oversensitive. It gives people, whoever need that forum and want to bully and bash someone. It's like when you're in your car, you do things you wouldn't do to somebody in the supermarket line. It gives you that kind of boldness, and I think that social media, it gives that forum. Unfortunately, I really like it for what I use it for. I think it's amazingly beneficial, and I like it, but I think it can be misused, and people use it as some kind of gospel, and it's not. It's just what it is. It's social media.
It's the freedom of speech that is the greatest thing in America, right? But then because that, a lot of people have a freedom to talk about their opinions. And it seemed like not everyone is mature enough to, enjoy that right? So I feel like there are, not everyone, but there are many people out there, they talk whatever they want to talk without thinking about the consequences.
I think there's a real possibility that our sitting president could do some real damage to our country's national security, our country's race relations, and just the general way of life as we know it.
I share with my kids all the time. My son's a student at WVU. My daughter's graduating high school, and when they left the house every morning before they went to school, I would always tell them, make yourself uncomfortable today. Because if you make yourself uncomfortable, you're living. If you're comfortable, you're not really getting a chance to experience life and experience people. If you just kind of get in that environment where you feel like this is where you fit and everything around you is safe, and you feel like you don't get challenged, you're never really going to experience opportunities to get to know other people. And I think that's what we're missing a lot of right now.
I'm most optimistic because we have some great programs like the Boy Scouts of America that are trying to train and cultivate our children into being great adults and citizens. I think that's our greatest hope right now, is to try to instill values into our kids to become the next generation of the great adults and leaders of our communities in our country.
I'm excited to see where this generation right now goes, because I think that they see opportunity, and you see, as you kind of get out in the real world and have to experience work and disappointment and accomplishment, that as you grow and change, it gives you an opportunity to become a better person. And
if you could say one thing to all of America right now, what would you say?
I would say good luck.
Unless you talk, you will never know what other people think, right? Unless you talk, you never really know what you actually think. So once we talk, then we can, meet in the common ground.
Like I said, I'll be 60 next month. So there's been a lot of panics, a lot of divisions, a lot of political upheavals in my life. And I've just just take it all in perspective, that life has gone on. A lot of great changes have happened in my life. Amazing.
Be the best you that you can possibly be.
It's the youth that fall through the cracks and don't have I would say, a proper upbringing or an educated upbringing that I'd probably be worried about the most. I think if we can put our kids on the right path, our future can be bright.
You got more inside of you than you think you do, and if you just dig deep and try to be the best you can be, you'll never be disappointed. As far as your effort, there will be disappointments, and that's life. But you just gotta fight through it, learn from it, and become a better person, because that's what's gonna make a difference in the world.
All right.
Good.
Thanks. Yeah.
Awesome.